Hello, welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit. Recording this on Monday, 2nd of September, 2024. How's it going? You well? I hope so. Um, Throughout the last 4 years, I have consistently said that each one of us is playing a part in this, and God wants us to stand up. And it's a test, and it's a very severe test, and everybody has different parts to play, and nobody is above anybody else. But I wanted to do this show today to talk about an upcoming event in London on Wednesday, which the organizer of which is Fiona Rose-Diamond, who's joining me now. And there she is. I will not. And here she is in the flesh.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm wearing the t-shirt as well, so I don't know if you can see it the right way, but I will not comply always.
That's fabulous to see. Um, I'm just going to share with the viewers, firstly, this video that you put out the other day. Now, this Twitter account is Covey Leaks, and this is about United Not Divided rally. Wednesday, the 4th of September, 12 p.m., Parliament Square, London. Here's a fantastic video Fiona did, which is up to 148,000 views so far, which is fantastic. Firstly, let's talk about this event, and then we'll go into a bit more detail for people that haven't seen you before.
Great. Well, shall I just go? I mean,
Just go for
I've
it.
probably got it's difficult, right? Because I've got there's so much that I want to say, but I've got to be equally cautious and measured because of the climate we find ourselves in. Not a hot one. I'm talking about with everything that's going on with people being, you know, arrested and put in prison for Facebook posts and anti-government rhetoric and whatnot. So I do have to be quite measured. But I think for most of the people that will probably be watching this, and for both you and me, we could confidently say that we saw this coming. We knew that eventually Starmer would be, you know, in power, and he would be prime minister. And we believe that he's been selected, and we know that there's these overlords sort of controlling these unelected, you know, elitist bureaucrats, you know, giving diktat to our government. So we saw this coming. However, I would say as well that announcing this day was fairly reactionary to what Starmer has decided to do in the 2 months, not even 2 months yet, I don't think, but the 2 months that he's been in power. It'll be 2 months on the 4th of September, actually. So, yeah, it was fairly reactionary in a sense, but also, like I say, we saw this coming. So as people know, hopefully they know that it's during Prime Minister's questions. It's the first PMQs after summer recess. And given everything that's happened, I think it will be a powerful demonstration of sort of force in numbers, a demonstration of mass non-compliance, but also at a time that all of the MPs will be in Parliament, and we need to remind them that they work for us. They seem to forget that other people, that human beings, that citizens actually exist. They lie to be voted in, and then they forget that we're there. So we're there to remind them.
And they need reminding because they are motherfuckers and they don't give
Mm.
a shit about the human race or any of us. And this is extraordinary because I know you've been at it for 4 years and you've put it. I know it's like people's front of Judea, the front of the Judean people's front, and I know it's all a bit like that. But you've managed to organize a number of events. You spent many nights in police cells. You've put yourself on the line. Lots and lots, and I've watched from a distance because I'm in the west of Ireland. I couldn't make it over to any of the London things. I went to some of the protests in Dublin when they were kicking off in 2020 21. What's the vibe there now? Because we've obviously gone past the that's all gone, kind of. There's still a few knocking about, and
Mm.
the monkeypox is falling off a cliff by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So putting kids into prison for disagreeing with government policy, is it getting through to people?
Um, no, I mean, this is, I think, I think Keir Starmer's far too cocky. By the way, I didn't know. I mean, do I have to have completely clean language because I've got a bit of a potty
Are
mouth? So
you?
if
Are
something
you?
slips out,
Have you ever met me? No, you haven't, have you? No.
no. But this is it. I didn't know. I was like, when you swore that, I thought, gosh, YouTube's going to ban you.
No, I don't put these on YouTube because I wrote a
Good.
poem. I wrote a poem called "Fuck YouTube" 4 years ago. So that's not really. Don't worry about it.
But brilliant. So okay, so if it slips out, then that's
That's
great.
fine.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the feel of everything at the moment, it seems like, and I've said this actually the other day, it's like Keir Starmer is promoting this rally for me because every single thing that he's done to date has been to agitate and inflame. Because it's my belief, and I think many people's beliefs, that that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to piss people off. He wants people to get angry. He wants to annoy people, take away the winter fuel payments for the elderly, restrict us, control us, ban smoking in pub gardens. And it's all on purpose. None of it's an accident. So I think it is to agitate and inflame, because I do think he wants unrest in a way. So then he can bring in the controls that are pre-planned. It's the problem, reaction, solution. It's all been written out. This is why I say that no matter how proactive we believe we are reacting to plans that have been written for decades, if not possibly longer. But the feel is, I've been fairly surprised by the kind of anti-Starmer posts, even from people allegedly on the Labour side, floating around on social media, and the fact that his popularity is massively waning. But he's quite clearly demonstrated to the people that did vote for him that he's lied. We didn't need that proving. We didn't need to be, oh, there we go, he is a liar. We knew. We've known what Keir Starmer was always going to be over the last 4 or 5 years. But there is a lot of anger, and I've certainly essentially played on that because it's fairly emotive. We know that Starmer is a Davos puppet. He's taking orders from Schwab and whomever the next leader of the World Economic Forum is going to be, along with his pals Tony Blair and King Charles. So yeah, we saw this coming, but the public didn't. The masses didn't. And I think this is an amazing opportunity to prove to the masses that there is an overall agenda here. This isn't just about, this isn't all sort of surface level politics and what we're being presented with. There's a sinister agenda going on, and it's almost like he's making it easier for us to expose him, to expose the bureaucrats that control him and the globalists and what the agenda is. I think I'm seeing it as an opportunity, and I'd like to bring people back together. It's been a year since I last did a massive rally in London. That's not to say I didn't do rallies, because I did. I've been relentless for 4.5 years. And as you said, I've been arrested, I've been convicted, I've been arrested under the Terrorism Act and had my house raided. I've really been through it. And that's why, I mean, it proves to me that I'm doing the right thing. And we have this sort of tone out there sometimes that people think that protest doesn't work. Protesting and rallying works, otherwise they wouldn't try so hard to basically make it illegal and to put conditions on us and to try and make it really difficult for us to follow their rules. They're criminalizing peaceful protests. That's what they're doing. They've been doing it for a couple of years. We've got the public order bill that goes hand in hand with the online harms bill, and they're locking people up as we speak for posts on Facebook. It doesn't matter if you agree with the content of that post. For some, it's been emojis, and they're allegedly racist. And I think he's clearly got a task. He's clearly targeting one particular side. He's inflamed both sides, and he's on a roll, but people can see it.
Yeah, I think he's doing a massive favor for everybody, and I've got my own opinions about why that's happening, but that's not relevant to this chat. What is it that you want people to do on Wednesday if they're watching this?
So obviously attend. I understand it's difficult. I've tried to give as much notice as possible, but like I said, it was quite reactionary. It's the first PMQs, and they've just gone back to work today. So I had to set it. But I want people to turn up at 12 p.m. And the idea is that we do remain as static as possible, loosely within that area, to be present. throughout the afternoon when PMQs are happening, when the MPs are going in and out. Obviously, it's a peaceful rally. I don't want people to come and start rattling gates and barriers and whatnot. We'll have teams that will be, leafleting around, as we always do on every single one of the rallies and marches that I've organised. We have teams that are leafleting in the surrounding area. But I want people to come and demonstrate the power that we actually have as people. And I always say that the people have more power than the people in power. And it's a demonstration of that. It's a demonstration of mass non-compliance. It's a demonstration of unity. It's no matter your race or your faith or your age, everybody is welcome. This is a peaceful demonstration to show that we are united, not divided, and we will not be divided by a demon, a Davos demon.
I'm glad you said the word demon, because that's pretty much correct. You said something there that was interesting. Well, obviously, this is about everybody, right? So they're desperately trying to create a civil war and unrest between different factions that they're creating in the UK. And the message to everybody, whatever faith, color, whatever, doesn't matter, because we have to unite against the common enemy, and the common enemy is the demon and the demons behind the demons, right? That's
exactly. I think we're all being puppeteered, and we got to look up and see who's where the strings are attached. It's not each other that we need to be battling against. They do show us what they want us to pay attention to, and they've made this issue about far right and the other side, and what Keir Starmer is really tried to inflame. He's clearly made it about sort of two sides. He has made it about race. He has made it that issue about faith and race. It's like he wants people to be scared of this potential future. People think, and they're being led to believe, that the real threat is that, we're going to be a Muslim state and it's going to be Sharia law. The reality is so much worse than that. The reality of what they're actually trying to do is so much worse than what's being sort of perpetuated and propagated in the public domain, which is why I think it's really unhelpful, because I have a view on faith, which is, I was born and raised Catholic. I was atheist, self-described, at the beginning of all of this. And now I'd say that I'm spiritual and I'm on a journey. And I believe that religion is one of the tools that they use to divide and conquer, as well as race. So anything that they can think to sort of pit us against each other. But I think this is
and sex and sexuality, and sex and sexuality. I mean,
exactly.
No stone is left unturned when it comes to
anything that they can possibly say. You're oppressed because of this, therefore you must uprise and fight against this certain group of people. They're so desperate to put us into boxes. They're so desperate to say, if you hold this opinion about mass uncontrolled or illegal, whatever you want to call it, mass uncontrolled migration, if you hold that issue, you are far right and you are racist. And if you don't hold that issue, then you're a good person over here on the other side. It's so clear what they're trying to do. But it's quite complicated. I said this, I feel a bit like a social leper, because I have opinions on generally what our government for decades historically is culpable and responsible for, all over the world, in the name of greed and empire building. I have a view that we've interfered in places where we shouldn't be, and we've created divide and we've created hatred among people. But when you believe that that's been the ultimate plan, you understand why they've done it, because you know what the plan is. And I think that's what people perhaps maybe need to grasp. Like, we shouldn't be letting them put us into these categories. We can have these legitimate concerns about what's going on. We want to go deep. I believe we're having this human experience. I think that where we are, I'm on this earth right now. I'm not 100% sure of what happens afterwards. I have faith that I didn't have before. I don't believe in sort of any monotheistic religion, but I like I said, I lean towards spiritual, but there is definitely something bigger. But whilst I'm on this earth having this human experience, whilst children are dying, whilst they are intentionally killing people and they want people to kill each other, I have to do something about it. It's like a moral compulsion. So I'm in a weird position, I think, for a lot of people, because yes, I'm an activist, and yes, I'm interested in certain things that are sort of might be surface level to others, but I think we must act whilst we have this chance. And, you know, otherwise we are going to be living in 1984. That's all I see happening.
100% with you there, Fiona. And anybody watching this should just hang on to this, because the unity consciousness is the thing that's rising, and that's the thing that's we're starting to see. Even in Belfast recently, there were people standing next to each other with the British flag and the Irish flag together against.
Yeah.
They're starting to see it, and that is one of the places on earth where it has been most. I wrote a poem years ago called Rising Era, which was about the British were but the face of this foe, because the real foe is the one behind the scenes. And that's what's being exposed worldwide right now. And I do believe that spiritually, it is all about standing up and not being afraid, because fear is their biggest weapon. That's the thing that they've used to get hundreds of millions, if not billions of people to agree to be injected with a bioweapon. But that wasn't enough to wake everybody up, even though that's clearly maiming and killing people across the planet. So this is part of the wake up from what I can see. And I really hope, if you're watching this and you are in the UK and you can make it down to this event, then do so, and do it without fear, with love in your heart. And,
Yeah.
you know, Fiona's run
I,
loads of these, and they've always been peaceful, haven't they? They've
Always. And I think that's something I want to reiterate. I think, you know, there's a reason that my video that I put out, because I haven't done a video and put my face out there. It's never been about people knowing my face and attaching it to whatever work that I do. I think I've been involved in a lot that people would be surprised at, because for me, it's not about clicks and likes and people knowing who I am. So I rarely put content out that's me speaking or do lives or whatever. But it was important for me to do it with this, given the current climate, with what's going on, which we spoke about, and people being locked up for having certain opinions and for expressing those opinions, despite the fact that we still have the right to do so. We clearly do not have that right, you know, or they're taking it away. They're so desperate to take that away. I don't want people to be fearful. I've had to do that video because ultimately the thought in the back of my mind is that one day it could be used against me in a courtroom. It's a very realistic prospect that I will be targeted for arrest, because I'm, you know, I've got several convictions. I've got 13 all in all. But specifically for organizing protests during lockdown, I've got 6. I've got other public order offences and some stupid things I did when I was a bit tipsy as well, but hence why I don't drink anymore. But there's a very real issue for me, and I have to back myself in what I'm doing. Nobody should fear the fact that we are not breaking any law whatsoever. We still have the lawful right to peaceful protest. That's why it's so important that we all take responsibility for also being sort of peacekeepers, to be peaceful, to be there, to be united, to actually smile and want to be there, rather than shouting and screaming and getting aggressive and rattling cages, because that's just not going to work. So I don't want people to fear anything. I want people to know that obviously if they see people that are wearing balaclavas, that have got masks on, that are all wearing black and kind of any mask, I think, we don't cover our beautiful faces. We stand there proud. We've dealt with facial recognition in Westminster for the last 4 years. It's nothing new. So we should be proud to be there. But people shouldn't fear agitators. And if they see them, that we should react very, very peacefully. Just start filming them. Don't engage in any kind of violence. And even if the police behave in a way that people believe to be aggressive and agitatory, it's really important that we remain peaceful and we remain as a collective and we stand strong together, positively delivering our message that we will not comply. We're going to stand up to you know what's happening. We know why this man is in position, and we're not going to let him get away with doing what he's doing to us and our fellow man. Even if our fellow man and other British citizens cannot quite see what's happening, it's our job to go out and try and make them see what's happening and bring everyone together.
That's the frustrating part of this. You can't wake people up with facts. They have to feel and experience this stuff to get to the point where they go, hang on, this isn't right. And this seems to be the case right now. But what they've been doing recently is something that makes people sit on the sidelines a little bit more. And I'd say if you're watching this and you feel like that, no, that time has passed. We're literally sleepwalking into totalitarianism if we don't stand up in whatever way that you can. And going out on the streets like this is a very powerful way to do it. I was reminded of going on protests 30 years ago against poll tax and stuff like that. And there was a quote going around at the time from people saying, if anti-war, yeah, they wouldn't allow. I think it was Mother Teresa, which is actually Anthony Fauci's dad, believe it or not.
Oh my
Mother
goodness.
Mother Teresa said that there should be peace rallies, not anti-war rallies, because the anti-war manifests more war, which is why you had 1 million people out in London when Blair was going into Iraq, and he still ignored them and carried on. Now, because of this past experience, I know a lot of people watching this will be thinking, well, it doesn't, not only does it not change anything, but what can we do? This is the big question that a lot of people have in their heads. How are we powerful? We've not got truncheons and guns and prisons and endless money and security guards and all of this, and all the people that just committed genocide are still walking around the halls of Westminster. What do you say to those people, Fiona?
Well, if we had a shit ton more funding, I'm sure we could get a lot more done. I think we find ourselves in this position, and it is what it is. We've got to deal with where we are. I think people believing that they don't have the power is part of the problem. There's a lot of thinking power that goes on here. Like I'm sure you agree with me about how the way that we look at things, believing that we have the power. They know that we know that they're actually worried and scared. That's why they come down so much harder on us, is because they are worried. But going back with regards to really what protest does, we would have vaccine passports now if it weren't for protest. We would have vaccine NHS mandates if it weren't for protest. The power of the people standing together overturn those things. There's documents from the World Economic Forum, I can never remember the name of it, but I can send it to you afterwards, has basically acknowledged that they're about 2 years behind in their plans, especially with digital currency and AI, because there's been such a human pushback against it. So saying that protest doesn't work, I can understand, but people should perhaps see, what's their subjective view of what they believe either should be the goal or what protest should achieve. Because they must have a perception in their mind of, oh, I think it should achieve this and it's not done that, therefore it doesn't work. If that's the first question people should ask. But for people thinking that we're going to get instant gratification from doing what we're doing, it takes time to build. We're fighting the most, I don't know what word to use. We're fighting a war unlike any other in human history, in my opinion. So to think that we're going to go and change things with one protest, we have changed an awful lot with petition as well. In combining that with protest, we've had a lot of pushback on certain legislation. Things have been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back because we've pushed it back. So people need to have more faith in themselves. And obviously demonstrating it's all well and good saying don't comply. It's all well and good saying I will not comply, wearing a t-shirt and sitting at home and not taking a jab. Right. But if we're not going to, we have to be going out and telling other people, like, this is why I'm not complying. This is why you need to not do it. And I think, the protesting, the rallying, it brings people together like nothing I've ever seen. We have a movement on the back of a few people going out very, very early on in the lockdown that were, it wasn't an easy time to go out as one individual person. My first arrest was in May of 2020. They wouldn't be arresting us and trying to silence us and stop protest if it didn't actually work. But we built it. It took a year to get to this massive display of unity on the streets. No, the mainstream media don't like reporting on us because they did for a while, but they just raised awareness that we actually existed. It's like the Streisand effect. They were talking about us to try and mock us and ridicule us, but all they did was raise awareness that, my goodness me, there's skeptics out there, and they actually promoted that rally for the NHS very well with the double-page spread hit piece on me 5 days before, thinking this anti-vaxxer that's willing to die for her cause was going to be a big hit piece that was going to be really embarrassing. I absolutely loved it. But like I said, it raised awareness that we existed, and I think it went away to help. We've done things that have managed to unite people, like the vaccinated, the unvaccinated. I ran a campaign called Truth Be Told. The media were not acknowledging vaccine injured people as vaccine, COVID vaccine victims until that rally. They weren't spoken about in the way that they were spoken about until after that massive rally outside the BBC. It was in Rolling Stone magazine, and it got shared everywhere on social media. And that's what people need to see as well. It's about the people that see us on the day, the general public that walk past with their mobile phones, and they can see people and they read the placards. And that gets shared all over the world, whether it's tourists or locals, and also the content that we put out based on the action that we've done that day. It demonstrates in person our mass non-compliance. It brings people together. It also keeps up our momentum of protest. But it's not going to change something overnight. So we have to be consistent in what we do, which is why I've been consistent for 4.5 years. I'll never change my mind about protest. And I think it's one form of demonstrating that we are still here, that we are pushing back. And then I'll go home and I'll read up about certain things like council tax or whatever I need to do at home. And then I'll go back into my community and I'll have these little awake meetups with my, other awake people. I'll go and hand out some leaflets in the light paper. All of this stuff needs to happen. None of it should stop. And everyone has their, areas in which they prefer. But it's very easy to attend a peaceful rally and come and just stand there and be present and show these people and remind them that they work for us. And that's it. We've got to demonstrate in person what we're talking about constantly online.
Yeah, it's so important to physically show up and not just be sat on a keyboard, which is why I've done as many live events as I possibly can. And we've got weapons that we can use, their weapons we can use against them. Everybody going, film it all, post it everywhere.
Yeah.
Many hands
And
make
that's
light
what I
work.
say, that it gets seen. I've had videos, clips of videos, 3-minute videos outside the BBC that that have gone viral, that have had millions of views. When we had the screen outside the BBC for the Truth Be Told Vaccine Injured campaign, that was on news, mainstream news in India, because it just happened to correlate with the fact that they had a case going on against the BBC in India at the time. It was on mainstream news. It was everywhere. There was, it was shared in languages I'd never even seen before. So it's not just about what we do on the day. It's about how that's seen and spread and shared afterwards and during. So much comes from it, and so many people feel alone. And I've met so many people on rallies that have come up to me and said, the only reason I know about you is because I was walking down Oxford Street and I saw your rally and I saw some placards and I started talking to people and I joined in. That happens constantly. And we do outreach and leafleting as well at these rallies. That's just something that happens now. I think, I presumed it would become one of those things that people expect, that we'll have teams there leafleting that go into the surrounding areas to make the most of the day. But I don't think we'd be where we are now if we did not push back the way that we did. We were seen worldwide in 2020, worldwide, and we inspired people. We were the first to stand up en masse in Trafalgar Square first. We worked coordinated with Germany actually at the time as well, because we had the German lady in London, and we managed to get this, this unity going from the very beginning. But we were watched by the world. We were watched by the world, and we inspired, and we should be inspiring. We should be inspiring other people to stand up.
That's the key. I've traveled around the world since all this started, and I can't believe the reach that this kind of stuff gets. If you're watching this, don't be afraid to speak up, show your face, put it out there. You never know where it's going to go, what it's going to do. And whether you like him or not, the character of Elon Musk has put the spotlight firmly on Britain with the Keir Starmer situation, which means that there will be a lot of eyes on this on Wednesday. Now, I wanted to keep this fairly short to help promote what you're doing on Wednesday, and I'd love to get you back on for a much deeper discussion about all of this, because there's a whole story to be told. But I think you should do a past life regression. You'll probably find out you were Boudica at one point.
No, I've had a lot of people that have offered certain things. So obviously, being fairly new into that last, couple of years, like I said, I've chosen sobriety, and I'm so glad I did, because I feel so much more focused and centered and calm, and I feel so much more open to exploring so much more to try and understand, okay, where do I come from? What is the meaning of all of this? Why am I actually here? Why do I have this innate, inexplicable feeling that I've got to fight? I think those questions can be answered. So I have been on a journey, but I'm still, like I said before, I'm having this experience, and I do want to fight in this body on this earth now, for as long as children are dying, for as long as they are actually trying to cull masses and masses of people and have us kill each other. I will stand up and fight against it, and I will try and encourage others to do so. So on Wednesday, yes, I know it's a weekday. I know that some people haven't seen this. This is going out the day before, whatever. Some people are going to struggle because it is a weekday. They have jobs to go to, they have school to go to. I totally understand that. But I have done probably hundreds of rallies, so many on Saturdays and many on weekdays that people have called for more of, because we will be seen and we will be heard. They won't like it, but that's the point. All of those MPs need to know that we are there outside. So yeah, 12 p.m. The idea is to remain for as long as people can possibly stand. So bring a deck chair if you need to. You know, people have picnics on Parliament Square all the time. It's only protesters that are told to ask for permission, which I refuse to do. So I hope that we have masses of people that demonstrate, show unity and a force of power. We do have more power than them, and they know it, and they're scared. Hence why Keir Starmer is in his position, cracking down on us harder than I've seen. I mean, this feels worse in a way than lockdown.
Yeah.
It feels really, really dark right now, which is why, no, I can't just sit and do nothing. I have to stand up. So no matter your faith or your race, we have good people in this country from everywhere. And we need to unite together and show them that we are united, and we'll never be divided.
Fantastic. You're doing a fantastic job, Fiona. I support you in any way you can. Anybody watching this, share it. Go to, where do they go? They go to the Twitter page, anywhere else?
Coffee Leaks would just be the best place to go, because obviously you can download all the pictures and the content that's on there. It's easy to share across groups. Obviously, the rest of my social media is Fiona Rose-Diamond. But Coffee Leaks on Twitter, because yes, thank you, Elon Musk. You know, we're allowed to share more than we've done before. Though for me, I'm not convinced by him. But enough about that. He's actually, like you said, he's shed light at the moment on what's going on the UK. The spotlight is on the UK, so let's take advantage of it. But Coffee Leaks on Twitter would be the best source of information, and I would direct people to watch that video that you spoke about earlier on, because yes, it was filmed with in mind. I am literally prepping a bag of clothes in case I get arrested, in case I get remanded for something I may have said on social media, or for any reason. I don't think they'll want to martyr me personally. I think it helps that I'm, you know, people sort of know who I am. I've got a bit of a following. I don't think that's, you know, a bad thing. But anything can happen to me.
It's very powerful. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
Your best defense is being as public as possible, I think, at this stage. And
exactly.
Yeah, you're doing
but
a great
I hate the fact that I've got to think about that. I hate the fact that I have to. I'm thinking I want to go and have a really positive day, as they always are peaceful. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, gosh, what if the worst thing happens? What if they do this and that, and then they just come for me? And it's because, oh, you shared this on social media, this particular sentence in this particular post that was really long, we don't like. It's possible. So I'm prepared for it.
Yeah, but it'll do them more damage than good, and they're more afraid of you than we are of them. So
they're afraid of all of us. I
Yes.
really hope that every single person understands that the light within them, and when they use their voice and they demonstrate and they come together and we're there en masse, you know, maintaining that momentum, you know, when we're all together, we shine our light on all of their lies and all of their darkness, and they cannot stand it, because we're that energy in that crowd all together. I do believe that has a massive, profound effect on everything that happens around us. So just please come. 12 p.m. Wednesday, the 4th September, Parliament Square.
Brilliant. I'm going to leave it there. So this is short enough for people to share. Thanks, Fiona. Good luck with it
Thank you.
Wednesday. Let's speak again soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Share.